Hi, I'm Nate. This is Average Jack Archery, Pro Shop and Range here in Phillipsburg, PA, and this is a brand new 2026 Elite Emerse in the new black cherry color. This just looks tremendous. I cannot wait to review this bow. I have a lot of things that I really love about this, and one major complaint, and we're going to get to all of it. This year is the year of the mid-price bow. And when I say the mid-price bows aren't the mid-price bows they used to be anymore. Mid-price bows used to be $400 to $600, and they were complete pieces of crap. That is not the case in 2026. Lots of really solid mid-price offerings that are $1,000 or less, and that is mid-price bow. $1,000 is mid-price bow now. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Your flagship bows are 14, 15, 16, $2,000 if you're going to get a carbon from some companies. So yeah, the $1,000 to $500 range is really your mid-price bow anymore. This is the Elite Terrain. This has been part of Elite's lineup for several years now. And I wanted to bring it out because this is where the Emerse is coming from. So the Terrain is your classic, I love it as a bow hunter's bow. You're talking around the $700 bare bow price point range. You've got a machine riser, the exact flagship limbs at the time they had. You had a hybrid cam system, so a yoke at the top and a binary cam at the bottom. This is a flagship cam system that existed on Hoyts in particular from like 2005 to about 2018. That's all Hoyt ran was this. So this is a very tried and true proven system, and a lot of your mid-price bows are using this system now because of course all the patents are gone. It's going to use a standard cable slide, but it's going to use Winner's Choice custom strings. It's going to have machine limb pockets. This is a very high-end mid-price bow. And I sell a bunch of them here in my store to guys and gals who want a high-performing mid-price bow, but they want something bigger than, or better, should I say, than say like your big box store type style bow, right? Not there's anything wrong with those bows. I sell a bunch of Bear species and Legend XRs and Legend 30s and stuff like that that are in that fully loaded for under $600 range. This is definitely a step up with all the machining and the flagship level strings, limb pockets, limbs. You get the idea. Elite hasn't touched that mid-price bow in quite some time. That Terrain's been around for several years, and it's been kind of forgotten about. It sells well in my store, but I know it's not a popular favorite across the country, and I'm glad that Elite has come out with the Emerse. Now, I think they are doing this a massive misnomer by calling this a youth and women's bow. This is basically a flagship bow. The only thing really it's missing in terms of the flagship nature is a really high fancy tech tuning system and a roller guard. That's really all that is missing out of this bow. And as a complete kit package, that's a 3-pin CBE Tactic sight, that's a CBE Tactic Quiver, and a CBE Aeromain Whisker Biscuit style rest, $749. $749, machine riser, all the fancy colors. This is that new black cherry. They came out with a raspberry and a black cherry look, 2 different colors this year for Elite. And you know, it is a youth women's size bow. We'll get to that in a second. How do you get one in black cherry? But you of course get all the solid colors and hunting colors as well. We got a couple in gray here in stock in the shop to start out anyway. You got either a 60-pound peak or a 50-pound peak, okay? This is going off of what they did with the Basin and the Ember, which are still part of the lineup, although this is easily, it's gonna blow those out of the market for Elite. This is just a really high class bow for about an extra $150 more. Well worth the price jumping up to this. Now, it does have a decent amount of weight compared to the Ember in the Basin. That's because it's got like a real riser to it. I actually haven't even weighed this. Let's throw this on my scale real quick. So with a Whisker Biscuit and the tags, 4.2 pounds. So, you know, you're around 4 pounds flat there. I don't even know what the sticker weight is supposed to be advertised as. 4 pounds flat. Let's see what it says. Yeah, they're advertising 3.9 pounds. I got 4 pounds basically once you take all the extra stuff off. I call that a winner chicken dinner for me. This bow at a 50-pound peak or a 60-pound peak goes up to 28.5 inches of draw and down to 20 inches of draw. This fits so many people. Not just boys and girls, not just women. This fits a ton of men as well. So if you want a lightweight flagship light bow for $750 as a package, hello? Like, that's nuts. Now, granted, there's a lot of bows that compete in this kind of category or can outcompete it at price, but they're not going to be this quality. You're not going to have the flagship level limbs, machined aluminum limb pockets, machine riser, the coloring that Elite does. Like, they're black. I've got my Ethos, which I've beat the absolute ever living tar of. There's not a scratch on it. You're going to get the Elite style grip. You're going to get all the nice Winner's Choice strings. This is the same interior metal. Like, they didn't even cheap out on this. This is a metal thing that was on the Artist last year. Now it's got the adjustable micro tune splitter that they've put on their flagship hunting bows. Not a shock it's not here, but this was on a flagship bow last year. There's a ton to love about this bow. We did not get it as part of the initial launch. So I've only seen this bow literally today. So this is my raw impression of it. I'm very, very impressed. I threw a D-loop and a whisker biscuit on it so I could try it out. One thing I do like about this bow from a advertising standpoint is on this card. This is something that people don't talk about. This is, you can't always get the minimum weight and the peak weight, and pause the video. You don't always get the peak weight and the minimum weight based on the draw length of the bow, and particularly with these grow-as-you-go kind of bows. Now this one, as a grow-as-you-go kind of bow, this is by far the best back wall. I even like this back wall. There's nothing. That's 60 pounds. I believe this is set to about a 27-inch draw. I mean, holy cow, 85% let off. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm getting over a head cold. I really feel like this bow is about to lock up a full draw. That is every bit of 85+% let off. Big, nice, draw stops on here for the cable stop. But since this bow is beyond parallel, you get a back wall that doesn't feel like some chintzy kid's bow. Like, this feels like a flagship. I'm going to shoot on the side of this target here. So draw cycle's just great. Let off is fantastic. Again, really short for me, about 4.5 inches too short. And just quick. Like, this cam is specific to the Emerse. No other cam in the Elite lineup has this. They've now taken all their bows, with the exception of the Terrain, to this split system here. So for tuning, you got to swap shims. You can also twist up the yokes a little bit. But this type of system, when it comes to tuning the Artist of last year, and the Carbon Eon, now going into the Veros, really, really easy to tune the bow because of the splitter system. It just makes everything, both top and bottom, just super rock solid. One thing I also can't get over with this bow, like I said, I've shot it like a dozen times today, is how there's zero vibration. None whatsoever. So again, draw cycle is just great. It just feels like an Elite. It holds like an Elite. The grip, we'll get to that in a second, but in terms of just how this bow holds, for just this little tiny thing, I forget the axle to axle length. Let's read the card. We got an axle to axle 30 1/8. We'll call it 30. So just a really nice, short, little compact 4-pound bare bow that costs half as much as some of the other 30-inch sub 4 pounds bows out there. Just saying. Now, it doesn't have all the integration features that you would get on a flagship bow. So no pick mount on the front, and no IMS rear mount for like the new R7 from Hamskea or the original Q80 MX2, stuff like that. But that's also expected. There's a lot of companies that do put those features on the bow, and it's cool. I maybe install half a dozen. I sell dozens and dozens and dozens of the bows, and I maybe sell a total half a dozen combined of the pick sights and the integrate rests to those customers. Okay, so if you're buying a budget bow, it's really because you're probably buying budget or more budget-friendly accessories. So it doesn't bother me that it's not there. If this bow is $1,000 or well over that, I would expect it to have every bell and whistle feature. It's not going to have something like the bushing in the front. A lot of the flagship bows are going to have they're going to bore it out, thread it, and they're going to put a bushing in there. So if you do your stabilizers in and out, in and out, in and out, it does not have it here. Again, not shocking. It's just another way to save a little bit of money. Again, with the same thing with the roller slide. Although you could put a roller guard on here for like $20. So if you really want to, you can do that. Nice thing about this, but it is my biggest complaint. When you go to make a youth or a woman's bow, don't go too far. I don't think this is too far, but it's getting daggum close. And that is how thin and small this grip is, okay? When you get a bow like this bow is not for an 8-year-old. This bow is not for a 9-year-old, 10-year-old. This bow is for the lower teenage range or grown women. And they're not little kids, okay? And I say that with much love because they will have eventually a grown hand. They're not gonna have a tiny little delicate hand for forever. You're not gonna buy a $750 bow for a little kid because two problems. One, they're not gonna be able to hold this 30-inch bow out at arm's length and be able to effectively draw it, even with the weight, the poundage being able to go so low. You're not going to invest that kind of money into that kind of kid. So the kid that's doing this is eventually, within a couple of years, going to have a full adult-sized hand. So don't make the grip super small. Now this isn't super small, but it is definitely not the original elite grip feel. Okay, it has the terrain vibe, which is a not as fancy grip as the flagship bows, but it's still an adult-sized grip. This one gets a little bit too close to the small side. However, I also have massive hands. So if you are a grown dude who has a 27, 27 and a half, 28, 28 and a half inch draw, or even down as, a woman down into the low 20s, high teens, this might actually suit you really well. You gotta get down to your local elite dealer and try it out for yourself, but it's still incredibly comfortable. I just always get worried when companies make grips too small and specifically try to make them for like little kids, because a bow like this is not meant for a little kid. I mean, if a parent buys this for like their 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, they got the best parents in the universe. So my other complaint is about the cam, and it's really not a complaint as much as it would be if you gave it another inch. Just gave it another inch and go from to 29 and a half. This bow becomes way more appealing to way more people because this is, again, a 30-inch axle-to-axle platform at sub 4 pounds, 4 pounds flat, with a kit that comes at $750 with all the bells and whistles. You can pretty much get in any color you want. That's outstanding. That is outstanding. The problem is a 28 and a half inch draw length, and it only stops at 60 pounds or 50 pounds. Okay, that only gets you to a dude who's around 5'8", 5'9", maybe, yeah, 5'8", 5'9". There's a lot of dudes that are over 5'8" and 5'9". Now, I'm not making fun of you shorter guys. I'm 6'4", I get it. I'm not making fun of you. But if I could get a bunch more people into a mid-price bow, and they want to buy higher accessories, right? Most dudes live around the 5'10" to 6'1" range, at least in my area. And so this bow doesn't fit for them, right? They can't get out to that 29 and a half inch draw length. So it does kind of pigeonhole a little bit for really women or short-statured dudes, or of course the youth that are growing. But also, if you got a kid that's like 15, 16, 17 years old, and his dad is 6'2", they're not gonna wanna buy this bow. It might fit the kid now, but in 3 years, he's gonna be like 5'11", and this isn't gonna fit him anymore. And so they'll probably look at a different option that goes to a higher draw length range. But man, I'm being picky here. I'm just splitting hairs at this point. This bow I'm so excited for this bow for Lee. I'm almost more excited about this bow than I am their flagship Veros. Just mostly because of what they were able to bring to the table at a price point that the industry desperately needs right now. Very few companies are making a quality of bow like this sub $999. Elite has the 133 at $999. It definitely has more quality than this too. Has a lot more features in the cam system as well, and a couple other integrate features and stuff like that, the core mount, the IMS, etc. But for what this bow is designed for and who the shooter that this bow is designed for, it is great. And I think also the fact that the Ember and the Basin only came in like 3 or 4 colors. This comes in literally almost any color you want, which that's really cool because, if you're gonna buy an upper end mid-price bow as a grown woman or as a teenager, you want options. I have to look ridiculous shooting the bow this draw length. There's no vibration either. This feels like a flagship bow at the end of the shot. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if you have an elite dealer in your area, go down and check out the Emerse. You got a teenager, you're a shorter stature person yourself, you're looking to upgrade, you want a lightweight, shorter axle-to-axle bow that's got all the fancy bits and pieces you would expect of a flagship bow from gosh, like 6-7 years ago, but of course upgraded with the modern componentry. You gotta look at the Emerse. I'm telling you, you're missing out. So that's all for this video. If you have a question about the Elite Emerse or any of the Elite bows that they carry in their lineup, we sell them all here in our store. Or if you have a question about any of the other products that we sell in our store, how to shoot a bow, how to sight in a bow, paper tune, I don't care, drop it down in the comment section below. If you live here in the central Pennsylvania area, feel free to stop on down 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. We have the largest indoor archery range in central Pennsylvania. We carry all the brands you could possibly ever need. I got more arrows over here than I could shake a stick at. Every broadhead, bag target, foam, whatever you need, we have it here for you, and we service all makes and models of bows and crossbows. If you're in central PA, you're more than welcome to call Average Jack Archery Pro Shop and Range, your home shop. In the meantime, hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation, and get a kid into archery with this bow. They will love you forever. And we'll get to see you next time.